People deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all doing well and safe. Good evening to all of you lot, people. I hope you're all doing well and safe. I know it's a later stream than usual. I mean, life gets the better of all of us, and I can't lie, it's been chock-a-block, but most importantly, I'm here. Obviously, we're going to preview the Arsenal versus United game. We're going to talk about a bunch of Arsenal talking points. We're going to get into a lot of it. Please make sure you're hitting the like button on your way in. You know, the best things in life are free. Every like helps to push my content out there. It means I'm more likely to be discovered by somebody new. Like, you know, once upon a time, you lot had to come across me. So yeah, man, I appreciate everybody locked in. Please make sure you're hitting the like button on your way in. And yeah, man, we might as well crack on where we're getting on with. You know, again, big up everybody tuning in. Let's get straight into it first and foremost before anything major. And I actually say that when I talk about from a footballing point of view, as you lot already know, there's very few things in life which is more important than football. Life being one of those. And obviously our striker Aubameyang, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, has been missing for the last couple of days or so in terms of game weeks because he's been going through some personal sort of stuff in relation to his mother. We know there was a lot of speculation as to what was going on, and I can't speak for everyone, but personally I felt there's just some things you don't speculate about. And when you hear somebody's missing out for personal reasons, you're waiting for the club to provide clarity or the party to provide clarity. So yeah, it's unlikely at this moment in time that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, from reports, is going to be involved against Manchester United. But what is that, you know, really and truly? For those who don't know, again, courtesy, this article's from the BBC, but courtesy of a Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's Instagram page. Personally, people, let me zoom in a bit for those that might be struggling. He's gone on to say, "Hey guys, thank you so much for all the messages and calls over the last few days. My mother is going through some health issues and I had to be there for her. She's already much better now, and I will be back home tonight." Obviously, this was said yesterday, I believe. "I'm more than grateful to the doctors and nurses helping her get through this. And of course, thanks to my Arsenal fam for the love yesterday. I'm more determined than ever to keep our momentum going. Thank you all again. I am really beyond blessed to receive apologies, this level of support and love from all, and I can't wait to be back." So yeah, first things first, you know, happy that his mother is obviously, based on what he said, in better spirits and on the mend, and we've got her and Aubameyang and whatnot in our thoughts. So, you know, do what you need to do, look after your family, Aubameyang, and we'll be eagerly anticipating your return, people. So yeah, man, condolences to Aubameyang, and we're praying for better days and praying for health. And it's nice to see that his mother's turned a corner. And as you can imagine, psychologically, what is football when the person who's given birth to you isn't in the right sort of health? You're not going to be able to focus mentally. Football is of great importance, but once again, you know, there's very few things more important than such. So yeah, Aubameyang, come back when everything's ready. You know, whether we have to miss you against Man United or forever, how long, it doesn't matter. Deal with what you need to deal with, and yeah, we'll be praying for you. Moving away from that, let's go back into the comments, folks. What are you guys saying? It's been a while since I've actually, it feels like we've been missing for a while. Feels like I've been gone for a day, but I did content yesterday. Apologies as I help the people that aren't in this live stream, people. As I manually do some timestamps. I've been doing that for a lot of you guys, because I know some of you can't be here for live streams. You miss parts and then you're scrolling through trying to find it. I thought the least I could do is at least try and physically timestamp and give people a rough idea. I appreciate the fact that I didn't really give you not much preparation in terms of when I was live streaming today. You just probably saw it pop up and whatnot, but nonetheless, thank you very much for tuning in. Blake, I'm good, my guy. Abraham, I hope you're well. John, I hope you're doing well. Joel, the same, right back at you, my dude. People deluded, back again. I appreciate that, man. Dane said, "Best content incoming, big up DG." It's comments like that that make me keep going, and it wouldn't be a deluded live stream without Dermot Doyle saying, "People, he must get £1 for every time he comments that." And I'm all for the hustle, my guy. So people, it is what it is. Marcus said, "Big up DG, 74 people in the chat, but only 26 likes. People doing DG dirty, bang them likes." And again, as you enter the chat, please make sure you're hitting the like button. There's 91 of you there. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Somebody asked me predictions in relation to Liverpool and Spurs. Now, I can't lie, people, it's right in front of me. If both teams could draw, it'd be a fantastic result for us, isn't it? Because we got United on Saturday. I don't think we're getting top 4 at the moment, people, but we've clawed ourselves into a good position. So I'll be watching as an eager neutral of the teams. You know, I don't know. Liverpool's form's been shaky. Jose Mourinho likes big games. I don't know. I'm going to have to sit on the fence, my guy. 2-1 each way, man. 2-1 each way. I can see goals in this game, but saying that, both teams probably don't want to lose. They're probably going to sit back, which might happen when Arsenal play United. I don't think it will, but yeah. Big up all the JA tugs. Nicholas, I hope you're well. But yeah, moving on from obviously Aubameyang situation, people. If I share my screen with you guys once again, let's talk about Maitland-Niles now. Everybody and their nan has an opinion on Maitland-Niles, people. So again, I'm sure it's already got you lot frothing at the mouth. Some of you are, why isn't Maitland-Niles being able to play? Why he hasn't done this? He shouldn't play. We should have sold him. He should do this. He should do that. And the third, people, speaking about this, and I'm well aware that Arteta has spoken kind of indirectly about Maitland-Niles and directly in his press conference. The Daily Mirror has said Ainsley Maitland-Niles is ready for Arsenal exit this month to boost flagging Euro hopes. Now, for obvious reasons, it seemed like we turned a corner and he was going to kind of pick up where he left off after a strong start to the end to the season last year. You thought, okay, cool, he's marked and he's made a name for himself. He's going to have to do the fullback thing, but he's one of Arteta's players. I don't know whether Arteta thinks Maitland-Niles has got complacent, whether Maitland-Niles feels hard done by him. I got a lot to say on this, and I'm sure you will do as well. Either way, he needs game time. He got a looking at England. As much as I'm Maitland-Niles FC, if we're real with ourselves, people, he is punching really, because I think we're blessed at fullback, right back, and left back to have any chance to go to the Euros. He needs to play, and obviously 23 years of age now, played 100 odd times for Arsenal. Again, he's not 19, he's still young, but it's now time to come into your own. As Arsene Wenger famously said, by 19, if you're not ready, you never will be in terms of the mental and the real aspects. 23, you should be coming into your own. And we're still kind of saying, is Maitland-Niles a midfielder? Is he a fullback? And personally, I feel he is a fullback. I was one of them man there, like Maitland-Niles can play in midfield. I still maintain that, but I feel it's a fullback thing now, because whether it is due to not getting a run in the team at centre midfield or whatever, it just hasn't happened there. And there's, as much as I feel Maitland-Niles should have had a look in midfield and can get a look in midfield, when other people have, there's got to be a reason. There's been multiple managers and he's not been able to do that sort of thing. For me, with Maitland, I want to see him lock down the position, because he goes through moments where his first name on the team sheet, you can't leave him out. Also, there's other moments where he's not in the squad at all. And Maitland-Niles, obviously, like you're seeing kind of with Pepe, it's difficult when you're not involved at all to be thrown in and think people you can do your business and do your stuff. You need to run of games. Some man can do that. Some man cannot be involved and they pick up where they left off. I think Maitland, like you're seeing, like Pepe, they need a run in the team. Similar to that, you need to earn it. Now, you need to catch 22 is, I feel, on one hand, Maitland-Niles hasn't been given a chance to earn that spot in there. You have to give man a run. He was poor against Crystal Palace, and I don't think it's difficult, but he's going to have to wait a while to get a look in. But at the same time, other men have put in an equally poor performance and played the next week. Let's say Maitland-Niles held it down against Southampton, all's kind of forgotten sort of thing. And I know Arteta talks a lot about training, and I don't think he's wrong, but again, with all due respect, I'm not making it the Willian brigade, but what was Willian doing in training previously to justify starting? At some degree, it's about what you're doing in the match. It's about what you're doing on the match. So on one hand, I do feel Maitland-Niles is hard done by, but on the other hand, I feel he has grabbed this chance in moments, but I don't think he's really seized his shirt consistently. Like right now, Smith Rowe is, again, he played not the best of games in terms of the highlights, but he had a decent game in our last outing. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. Statistically, he intercepted quite a lot and all of those sort of things. He doesn't really care that Ødegaard's coming. He don't want to lose his shirt. Saka don't want to lose that right wing. He doesn't care about Willian and Pepe and Reiss Nelson and all of these lot. Of course, he cares from a teammate point of view, but he wants his shirt. And I want to see Maitland-Niles do that. And for me, at right back at least, I want to not just Maitland-Niles, between him, Bellerin, and Cedric, who's flavour of the month, playing well right now. I want to see someone lock it down, because personally, I want a right back, because we've got three men competing for one shirt, and Cedric goes through form. There's other times where he looks shaky. Bellerin goes through his moments. Maitland-Niles the same. I'm at this point now, again, where you've got a 23-year-old, Bellerin's 25, 26, and Cedric's 29. If nobody consistently shows me from now to the end of the season that you are the right back now, people got to go. We've got to just, because in the same way, left back, we're not talking about Tierney unless he's absent. We need to be able at right back, really and truly. Leno even, he's playing decent in goal since he signed for Arsenal. He hasn't really had a consistent and competent collective four in front of him and a defensive unit, including himself. Defense is obviously central to what you want to do. So I get that. And on the other hand, you know, I don't feel Maitland-Niles took his chance against Palace, but I think he's one of those weird sort of players that, unless it's right back, he's not getting in. When I see Joe Willock's had opportunities in midfield and him and Smith Rowe and Maitland haven't, you know, what could Maitland do in that role? Because he did play well against United. He has had a couple of good games in midfield, but equally there's been times where he's not doing his thing. And I also believe if you're not doing it in training, I do believe you shouldn't play at that time, at that moment. Like if I was a manager, I'm personally of the belief of you train the way you play, sort of thing. I know there's, you know, obviously with the more mavericky players, you know, people like Ronaldinho and Eden Hazard. Not obviously Ronaldinho is clear of Hazard people, but these sort of guys, obviously you can't really make them do the training thing. They're exceptions to the rule, sort of thing. They're a bit laid back in training. These sort of players, 9 times out of 10, they're probably the worst trainers. They're the best on a match day, sort of thing. And Maitland, you've got to see, I don't know, is Maitland complacent? You know, has he lost it? You know, is he complacent? Does he think, yo, I'm 23, I'm playing for Arsenal, called up for England, blah, blah, blah? Is he not committing himself at training? I don't know. I'm of the belief that my personal belief is Maitland-Niles is doing his thing. He's just not starting. And equally, not that you should ever drop off people, but, you know, it can be difficult when you're training. You know, Maitland-Niles could be training well and you're just not playing. It can become disheartening. You can become unmotivated. You know, it must be quite sad being a player knowing you're not really getting selected. You know, when we need to go free at the back and these sort of things there, Maitland gets a look in. But if Arteta, I would want to ask myself as a player, do I believe in my heart that if my manager's job was on the line, he had 90 minutes to save it, is he going to put me in his starting 11? If he doesn't put me in that, I've either got, if I don't feel he's going to put me in that in my heart, I have 2 options. I either depart the club and go somewhere I can settle down roots and try and play consistently and all of these sort of things, or I keep it moving. And, you know, I get why we'd keep him. He had a good season. You know, there was talk of a new deal. His price that kind of went up because he's, you know, went into the Euros. I mean, got called up by England and we're going into the Euros. I like Maitland. I want Maitland to stay, but, you know, I can't. If you're not going to use him, you could have used 20 million. And when we talk about the Aura thing, how we was a couple million off or whatever, I know football's not as basic as that, but that money surely could have just been pitted. But enough of my rambling, people. As you lot know, he struggled for minutes this season. Apparently, Ainsley Maitland-Niles is ready to go out on loan this season to bolster his chances of making England's Euro squad. Now, for me, I wouldn't loan him out. I wouldn't loan him out. Same as Joe Willock. I wouldn't loan them out. Just from a selfish point of view, in that we ain't got no bodies in midfield and the injuries, and as you're seeing, fitness is a thing. Listen, I think Joe should be looking to go out on loan. Hell, these sort of things. We shouldn't be relying on Joe, but we have to keep him at least until the end of the season because we're low for bodies. And I feel from a selfish point of view, you keep Maitland-Niles. He can play left back. Whether we bring someone in the summer, I mean, right now is a different ring, but the left back, he can do a job. Didn't do it too well against Palace, but he can do a job, and he has done well there previously. Obviously at right back, he's there. You can obviously flirt with the midfield. It's good to have a couple squad players. You know, him and Chambers, at least for now, you man are the squad sort of guys, unless you show otherwise. I like Maitland. But at the same time, you look at the statistics quickly, people. Again, in the same way I was like about Joe Willock. Joe Willock's played 70-odd times for Arsenal, and I still don't know what sort of player he is. I believe in Maitland-Niles, but it's the same logic, people. You've played 121 times for this football club, people. You know, you are one of these players that should be standing up to be counted, which I believe he can. You know, we should be knowing what you are. Are you a right back, and then can you play in midfield? Are you a centre mid and then can play at right back? That's very different from midfield and then right back one week. You know, he needs to become a master of one trade and then deviate, sort of thing. He can't do the either or. You're not gonna. It's great for us short term, but soon or not, if you know, it's gonna hit him that he's not the player that he can be, sort of thing. You know, and James Milner, you know, that's a good point. He can be James Milner. You need a man like James Milner. He's probably a manager's dream throughout his whole career. But even James Milner's versatility has somewhat killed him throughout his career. You know, did he not initially leave Manchester City to join Liverpool to play in central midfield? We all know Milner's played well. Nowadays, you catch him in central midfield as well as a more withdrawn role in midfield. He does get up and down, but you catch him in midfield, obviously left and right back. He can do a job. You know, he's probably a slightly more dynamic sort of midfielder early on in his career, and he's obviously had stints playing out wide, and that's great. But James Milner, even if he was to look at it, you know, obviously I know he came into the first team out when he's out wide. But to my knowledge, the man's a midfielder first and foremost. He can do a job at fullback very well. You know, we're not looking at it. If you, depending on which Arsenal fan you was to talk to, my guy Josh, other men are saying other things. Give him a chance in midfield. No chance in midfield. Right foot, right back only. I like Maitland because he's 23. He's played hella times for Arsenal. He's done well in the Arsenal shirt, but you want to see a bit more consistency. And I won't lie, off the Palace game, I don't think he should get a look in right now. He has to wait. But at the same time, You know, when you've seen it with William, when you've seen it with Bellerin, them man there, again, I hear what you're saying about training, but it comes across as favoritism when you're seeing, regardless of the performances, people were allowed to play multiple times, and that can become disheartening. And if I play devil's advocate, you know, it does appear, depending on what sort of player, they're all judged on different sort of standards, and they all have to do set different things, and some of, you know, it's kind of weird. So again, moving back to the article, they've said, you know, he's, as you know, he's got called up for England and things like that. Apparently, you know, Wolves will register their re-register their interest, and apparently there's a host of Premier League clubs that are certain to be alerted. And you can imagine, you know, there'll be a couple of clubs that will say, oh, cool, how much you want for him? Do you want to take him on loan? And it could be good for Maitland. You know, he knows he needs to play. He did change his agent not too long ago, so I'd imagine if he truly wants to leave, it could be patterned up. But if I was to change it quickly, I've got a lot of tabs up here. That's Odegaard, people. That's the next one. Are we going to get it right here? As you can see here, people, should I scroll up slightly? A bit of the he spoke about Reiss Nelson and Torreira slightly up, so we'll get onto that in a bit. But he spoke about Maitland-Niles today, and he said on whether Ainsley is concerned that he needs to be playing more football to keep his England place. Obviously, yes, it is. Yes, it is a concern when there is international football involved as well, and the chance to reach that opportunity. I understand that Ainsley wants more minutes, and what he needs to do is fight, train, and challenge his teammates and show us that he can be one of our starters. So again, I think, and that's not the first time that Arteta has said that about Ainsley since he's become our manager, and it's not the first time this season. You know, one of Ainsley's strengths is he comes across as being a bit laxed, a bit calm and collected, people. And that can be a gift, that could be a curse. Cynical people will look at it and say, okay, cool, that's why he's a bit, you know, that's what he's coming across. Maybe Arteta wants to meet him with a bit more friction. Maybe that it's a thing where Maitland is happy where he is now, or he just doesn't know how good he can potentially be. And Arteta wants him to realize that and show it consistently. And again, that's what he should be doing, because right now, the flavor of the month is Cedric. Right now, people will probably point towards Bellerin starting ahead of you, which I probably wouldn't. But again, is that the logic based on what we're seeing? So he's dropped the gauntlet down at Ainsley, and it's down to him. You know, for Ainsley's credit, I remember a couple of interviews he did on Arsenal.com, and he spoke about how his dad said, you've always got to impress someone in the stadium, he ain't made it. When I hear the way he speaks, he seems on it. And that's you know, there's another world where he could actually be training well. You know, he could actually be training well, and Arteta might think he's training well. But Arteta's coming out now and not getting at him, but kind of insinuating things that might think, all right, cool, I thought I was doing well, let me up it again into a level where when he does get that chance, he grabs it with both hands, similar to what you kind of saw with Pepe against Southampton. There's place, you know, what I'm liking now, there's competition for places. You know, Pepe probably be dropped against Manchester United, rightly or wrongly, but, you know, does he play on the left? Martinelli, does he play? Saka, does he move back over there if you play Pepe? Saka can't leave his right wing. Lacazette's doing well up front. What happens to AUBAMEYANG when he comes back into the team? I think it's was. So it's good. We need good problems, people. I think it's was. I do think the situation will be revisited. Like if I'm Maitland-Niles, you know, if I don't play too many times by the end of the season, then you have a decision to make. I'm sure he loves Arsenal Football Club, but he needs to go somewhere where he can compete and try and play consistently. Minutes are currency, and the 23-year-old needs that in his legs. If we was to look at the appearances he's made, he's been subjected to 11 appearances this season so far. 24 this year, people. So again, he's not a kid anymore, you know, and he's one of these players that we should be looking at to try and somewhat lead Arsenal into a new era, in the same way you should be looking at Bellerin, rightly or wrongly. You should be kind of looking at Holding. You should be looking at these young players as well as the experienced, obvious choices. Now, he obviously started this season. He got 90 against Fulham. He then got 90 against Liverpool. And then it just didn't really get going there. So again, and then he got a look in against Everton and Southampton. So he has an opportunity. So does his manager feel? So maybe he was training well up till this point, and then it's become adapting. In the league, it's 11 appearances. You know, he has played a decent amount of games, but it's not enough, really and truly. If it was to go to all comps now, of course, you know, he's primarily done the Europa League, where we've been rotating and trying to save bodies. You know, again, that looks healthier in midfield. Again, people, sorry, I don't think I'm zoomed in the most. What's going on there? Enough tabs, as you can see. Where's the zoom in tab? Think I'm rambling, you can't even see, but as you can see, look, it looks more healthier in the Europa League, as you can see, people. You know, in the Premier, it's all scattered. It starts well, benched, then you get a look in, not really, couple minutes here and there. I'm sure one of them subs there came on he came on for an injured player. But I like Maitland, you know, he's cool, calm, and collected, as shown in that game where he scored a pen. He's a decent lad. He did well against, well, not that game. Where is he? He did well in the EFL. He did well. He did well in. I think if I remember rightly, he did well in this defeat as well. You know, I think Appleman did if I remember my player ratings. But I'm also of the belief I can understand keeping him, but a decision needs to be made. He's contracted until 2023, allegedly. So he's a player you got to be looking at. You got to deal with the 2022s and now the 2023. So that's that in relation to Ainsley Maitland-Niles, people, really and truly. We'll have to see. Amen. What are you guys saying, though, people? If I stop sharing the screen real quick, Rafa has said Ainsley Maitland-Niles, jack of all trades, master of none, and that's the territory he's running into, sort of thing. That is the territory he's looking into. Big up Mark. Mark is saying Cedric first choice and cover for Tierney at left back. Bellerin is cover for Cedric. Interesting. Troy has said DG. Big up yourself, man. Love for that, my guy. Ainsley Maitland-Niles needs some experience, and again, he needs to go and get football. You know, Daniel is saying Maitland-Niles needs to go on loan as soon as possible. He needs to go somewhere with a clean slate, play some midfield and some fullback. Interesting. Game Hatred has said if Ainsley Maitland-Niles adopted Saka's mentality, he'd be able to adapt and get a place in the squad. He's a strong player. It could be disciplinary reasons why he isn't playing. We'll never know. But based on just taking it at face value level and not looking to create anything, I would say that he's not training well. And I know it's an Arsenal stream at this moment in time, but Sadio Mane has missed a sitter in the Spurs versus Liverpool game. He should have put them ahead. Spurs have switched off within the second minute of the game, and you know Mane is not really in the best of form, and neither is in Liverpool, and he behaved like that. So it is what it is in that regards, people. Big up everybody tuned in. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. As usual, people, please make sure you're hitting the like button. Vegas said Maitland-Niles got demoralized every time Arteta dropped him after every good performance, but Maitland-Niles should have kept it pro and maintained high performances. Good outlook. Like Josh has said, please make sure you're hitting the like button, man. And said Willian needs to go. He does, but he's going to keep playing more. And Spurs have just gone 1-0 ahead against Liverpool. Again, Mane should have taken his chance. Son did. Madman. Son's in my FPL team, so shout out to Son. But yeah, man, it's an interesting one in relation to Maitland-Niles. It's a very interesting one. So we've spoken about AUBAMEYANG. We've spoken about Maitland-Niles. We've even looked at what Arteta's had to say about Maitland-Niles. Should we get on to Ødegaard, people, and speak about Ødegaard very quickly? Let me share my screen. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are keen to see Ødegaard in action against United. I am as well, people. I would like to, I know we're going to get onto the game, but I would like Smith Rowe to start. I think it's a bit too early for Ødegaard to start, but at the same time, you know, if we look at it at face level, and Arteta didn't give anything away in terms of the fitness in relation to Smith Rowe and Partey. If Smith Rowe isn't there, you know, I know he's played Joe Willock in that role before, but I mean, Joe Willock, Ødegaard, rightly or wrongly, who's more likely to start? Who probably should start? Who's going to give us our best chance of winning? And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but did Arteta not say that Ødegaard was training yesterday, people? So if he's trained on Wednesday, he's trained on Thursday, he's trained on Friday, and again the match is on Saturday, I must imagine that he's had some time to somewhat get up to date with the tactics. Oh gosh, people, apparently in the Spurs game, last talk of the Spurs game, but the Son's goal's been chalked off for offside. Mad thing. But moving away from that though, people, speaking about Ødegaard, and obviously Arteta's going to wax lyrical about him. Ødegaard, as you can see there, Ødegaard has some special qualities that we need. Facts. He can pass the ball forward. He wants to try and break the lines. He said he's a player that we followed for some time, and we believe that he's got some special qualities that we need and we've been missing. So does that mean we've been following him and monitoring his situation at Real Madrid, where he's been in and out and on loans and whatnot, with an eye moving at him? Was we looking at him recently? Because we haven't really been proactive to getting players, you know. As much as I'm happy that Ødegaard's here, he's here because he had one foot out the door. He wasn't getting football. You know, it's the same way Partey didn't have a foot out the door, but there was a release clause there. You know, Runarsson, we tried to get the Brentford keeper. Brentford said no. We went for Runarsson. Do you get? I'm not getting at Matt Ryan, but again, it's not like we've went and looked for a keeper. We've seen that Matt Ryan's available. He's got 6 months left on his deal, and we've made it happen. I'm sure Brighton would accept a loan fee versus no fee for them, for him, sort of thing, at this moment in time. I'm not criticizing it. It might not be that. I'm just painting a picture as a fan. So time will tell whether we proactively looked at Ødegaard or he was a situational consequence of what was going on at Real Madrid, and we exploited that. But he said, yeah, man, he said, and we believe that he's got some special qualities that we need and that we've been missing. And that what we've been missing should G up attacking players in this team, you know, because I'll be looking at, what do you mean if I was Arteta and saying, what do you mean if I heard Arteta say that, I was like, what do you mean? I'm that guy. So, and again, even if you're Smith Rowe, obviously it doesn't apply to him, but at the same time, I would take that and say, I'm going to up my performances 10 times harder. You know, I'll be happy that Odegaard's here to help us and be my teammate. But with all due respect, F him, I'm playing in this 10 role, is what is the mentality. But he said now we have to give him a little bit of time. He hasn't played that many minutes in Real Madrid, but he's been training hard and he looks so excited as we are to have another big talent at our club. So yeah, I'm happy he's here, happy to see what he's on. Of course, again, it's smart. He hasn't played too much and he hasn't trained with his team. So it's probably naive to expect him to play a significant part against United. We all hope he does. You know, best thing, come off the bench and score if he doesn't start. He said, I think in the last few seasons he's progressed and he's developed in the right way. I've followed him very closely because he's played for Sociedad, which is my hometown. I know him very well. So again, obviously you heard Arteta was a big part as to him joining the club. Obviously, you want to see how the manager's going to use you, and the nuts and bolts of it is how much I'm going to play. But these sort of things help you. You know, he probably found similarities with him being from the Sociedad region, and that probably kind of allowed Ødegaard to be a bit more, how do I make it make sense? A bit more warm, a bit more to Arteta, and somewhat in the name of camaraderie. So these sort of things help. When you've got a manager that understands where you've been and who you are, it helps a bit. And obviously, I'm sure Arteta's got a bag of things that he could say. And, you know, Arteta's got to be a manager in his own right. But I would be using the whole, I've worked with Pep sort of thing. I know what to do. You heard the stories about me and Sterling and me and Sane and things like that. I could do that for you. I'll give you a platform to play if you prove your value on the training field, and it'd be wavy, you know. And he said, I've been really impressed. He's such a talent. He needs the right environment. He needs a little bit of time, but I think he's got the qualities to be a success for us. So yeah, he needs a bit of time to get up to speed with things. But yeah, at that same time, I just want to see him play well. But again, I kind of want to see him hit the ground running, man. I really want to see him hit the ground running because he's here for 4 months. We've got the pronunciation police here. I can talk about football. I can't really pronounce names, so you're going to have to forgive me, Rafa. I mean, no malice, but you're going to have to put up with it. Your ears are going to have to bleed in relation to Odegaard or Ødegaard. That's what I said. I didn't say Ødegaard, but fair play. Anyways, yeah, like I was saying, he needs to hit the ground running. He's got he's here for 4 months. As much as I want to give him time to adapt and all of these things, he's not here for 4 years. He's here for 4 months. We need to see a return on our investment. Apparently, we're paying his wages, 76,000 a week, allegedly on reports, and there's a loan fee of £2 million. Now, it might not be the most, but if it doesn't work, it's another sort of loan fee that's been wasted. And when you add, you know, the loan fee, the loan players we've got and not really got a return for, the free transfers we've brought, and the many sort of aspects as well as the big money spending, it would further confirm our mismanagement of the small finances available to us. You said he needs the right environment, and I feel this has come at the right time, especially where it's not that I want us to stop playing 5 at the back. There might be games that is required, and I want to see that if the time comes. But, you know, we've stopped playing 5 at the back. We've kind of stopped the pointless crossing. It looks like there's a bit of, you know, third man runs, one touch, two touch. It looks like there's a bit of attacking third final creativity and them things there. So that for me is the right environment, and it's come at the right time. You know, Ødegaard should be wanting to get a look in. Again, I hope he plays well, and he's talked him up well, and this is where I want to see him used. You know, again, he said he can play as a number 8 or in a 10. Now, that's a lot of focus, and I've actually got a segment from a previous live stream I've done that I specifically held to release for when he specifically became an Arsenal player on loan, because, you know, where he plays is of use, because again, there's many different things you can do with Ødegaard. Again, if we're playing a team where, like the Crystal Palace game, you're going to see 2 banks of 4, 11 players behind the ball, just low blocking, I think you can go with an Ødegaard in the 8 and Smith Rowe in the 10 and look to get them to connect and stuff. Equally, if we're going into a game like United on Saturday, or like a City or Liverpool where it's a lot of running and, you know, you've got to be engine and steel, then you take one of those out. But we need that option. For me, it takes away the creative burden, but the burden on the creativity is for everybody at this club, because there will be a point, or there could be a point where, you know, you've got Smith Rowe and Ødegaard on the football field, and we're saying, why are we still struggling to create? We're still unable to break lines. There's still this. We need continued movement. We need our fullbacks to keep playing well. We need variety of movement. You know, you saw Chelsea yesterday. I think Tuchel is introducing a lot of lovely stuff at Chelsea. But you saw with Havertz, Kovacic, and who was the other one? Havertz, Kovacic, and Jorginho. they were all coming short for the ball. You need one man coming short, one man kind of holding his position. Then you've got one man which in a healthy way is a bit of a headless chicken that in an ideal world will come short sometimes. 9 times out of 10, he's making that run ahead of people. That what Ramsey used to do, sort of thing. So it'll be interesting. And like you said, he can play off the sides, you know, like his former manager Arsene Wenger. If we need to play a bunch of creative players, we can force Ødegaard into the side. And it's good problems. You know, obviously, whether you're a number 10, a number 8, a winger, a striker, only so many players can play. Only so many attacking players can play. So there should be good competition. You know, Martinelli, right now we could say he's almost a bit of a forgotten man of sorts. He was a maverick and a hero a few weeks ago, and he still is. But does he play on the left? Aubameyang up front or the left? What consequences does that have for the Pepes, for Saka's potentially, you know, for Smith Rowe, for Lacazette? You know, they all their positions. Everyone should want to play, and it gives us more options to flirt between. So I'm all for it, people. And obviously, from a tactical point of view, this entices me as a fan because we've lacked exciting players. And Ødegaard, I know he might only be here for 4 months, but he's 22. He's been around since 15, 16. He's playing for Real Madrid. He addresses an area which at face value level we kind of need. So when I'm hearing he's got talent, he's impressed, you know, he's got pedigree, he's a specialist in pockets, he can play in those creative roles. That's an area we've kind of lacked in. You know, he can play off the sides. He's a really creative player. He's really comfortable on the ball in tight spaces, an area we've lacked when we're playing against low blocks. This just excites me as a fan, so I want to see it work. And for the man himself, the 22-year-old, it's a partnership of convenience. You know, he plays well here. I'm sure Real Madrid will entertain him getting a look in next season, or equally he could come here permanently in an ideal world, or they can get top dollar for him. If it doesn't work out here, you know, we stop looking at, you know, was it Zidane, this and that, or maybe he's got a lot to learn, which could actually be said a bit about Ceballos, because he's huffed and puffed. He's looked hot and then cold. He's had his moments. For me, it was all about consistency with Ceballos now. You know, if you're consistently good, you're back at Real Madrid, personally. So yeah, moving away from that, he said he has the capacity to create chances and to score goals. Something that he has improved a lot is his work rate without the ball as well, which you see is essential to what Arteta wants, and you have to do it at the top clubs, especially Real Madrid. So it's another option to give us more creativity for sure in the final third, and give us more options to set up in different ways against certain teams. Again, kind of what I was alluding for. You don't need to shoehorn everybody into the lineup, but according to who you play, like, you know, every game is difficult in the Prem. You need other things. So it gives us his signing should, you know, temporarily make everybody step their game up. It gives us another option. It gives him another option, and the games are coming thick and fast. So hopefully it works out in relation to the 22-year-old Norwegian. I'm happy to have him here, really and truly, people. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anything else out in that regards, people. I don't think I am, so I think we can kiss that one goodbye in relation to Ødegaard. Moving away from that and circling back, people. Apologies, circling back briefly on some transfer news. As you can see here, on if Mustafi will stay until the end of the season, or if a mutual agreement will be reached. As we heard, you know, he's trying to cancel his contract. Essentially, he said again. He's another situation at the moment that is opening, and we are having conversations internally with the player and agent. We'll see what the right solution is for this one as well. So again, we're not there yet, but we're in negotiations to come to a conclusion. Personally, I think, I don't know, because you did see, was it AFC Bell or someone? I can't find it. I don't actually know where I saw it, but didn't somebody say his dad has said, you know what, he's staying to the end of the season? I don't know. I would like us to come to an agreement for him to go, because it means one player off the books, but I don't know what's going to happen in that regards. One thing's for sure, I think the only one from a position of power right now is Mustafi. Does he necessarily want to, is playing right now of immediate importance to him? Right now, I think it is, because what footballer wants to be on the bench? But at the same time, you know, it looks like Socrates is on it, because he come to an agreement real quick, and now he's at his club back in his homeland of Olympiacos, people. I still see you kind of lounging around in the last 10 days or so before the end of the season. So the cynic in me say, does he really want to play football, or is he waiting to assess his offers? I wouldn't just move for the sake of it or do anything just for the sake of it. So yeah, man, he said we are monitoring the situation. I cannot say much more than that. We have conversations ongoing, and we'll see what's the best decision at the end of the transfer window. So again, depending on what could happen with us, you're out of here. We've spoken about Maitland-Niles, people, on Reiss Nelson and making the last match day squads. He said that's a conversation that we are having with the players that are not having a lot of time. Obviously, we want to keep their development going, and we'll make decisions in the next 3 days with some of them on what the best thing to do is. We try to be clear and transparent with what the plans are and their roles in the team. And after that, we decide on the best thing for the players and the club. Now, for Reiss Nelson, he is probably a bit unfortunate, really and truly, because I don't think he's got opportunities enough, similar to when Willian's been pouring between Pepe, Maitland-Niles, Nelson. These lot haven't been afforded the same luxuries the others have. And he has played well. And I think the sad thing is, just when he was really starting to up it, I felt, he got injured. The last time he really has played significantly was Rapid Vienna, and other players have taken chances. Now, I would rather Nelson stay and get minutes, but I'm of the level now, similar to Saliba, I think you need to go on loan. If we circle back to the summer, apparently it was abundantly made clear. Arteta said you need to do the loan thing. He stayed for whatever reason. He wanted to fight, and at times he was getting in the match day squad. But now you need to go and play football. And again, I think a loan is probably the best thing for his development. Go and play week in, week out. Go and get some confidence back from playing, some confidence from playing consistently and doing your job. It's like a plumber. If you're doing a boiler for the first time, you're not going to be you might have enthusiasm, but you're not going to have the confidence. Well, if you do it time and time again, installing this boiler, you're going to have confidence. If you've got confidence, you're going to perform in your job better. That's what we need Nelson to go and get. Minutes of currency. That man needs to go and get that. I think he's still got ability. He can have a future here, but he's got to seize it. You look at someone like Smith Rowe. Just a few weeks ago, Smith Rowe could have been in the same boat, probably was in the same boat as Reiss Nelson, maybe through different circumstances. As if you weren't getting a look in, we'd have to be looking at you. Like, you could have been one to go out on loan, sort of thing. Instead, he's got fit, he stayed fit, and crucially, he's taken his opportunities that have been given to him. So he's out of that boat now. In the same way Saka and Smith Rowe are doing their thing now. Maitland's shown stats, shown things and whatnot. He probably will not go out on loan. You have to look at it. Does Reiss Nelson go out on loan? Does Nketiah go out on loan? Nketiah, Reiss Nelson, and Joe Willock, I'd entertain loan offers for all of them based on the football they've not have or haven't played this season. But personally, Joe Willock's in a difficult situation because, like I said, he should go out on loan. I'll be one of the first to let him go out on loan. But at the same time, people, we need bodies. For Eddie Nketiah, I understand it. But if somebody gets injured in the first team, what does that look like? And I know a lot of you would say there's a other young striker in our academy, and I'll save you lot because I definitely agree with that. But that situation there is probably political in its own right. So make sure you're hitting the like button, people. Reiss Nelson, he needs to play minutes, and I don't care if he goes. I would love him to go I'd love him to go to an English team. Crystal Palace apparently trying to buy Demarai Gray. Come and get Reiss Nelson on loan. He's better than him. He's actually scored in the Prem. I can't remember when Demarai scored. No disrespect to Demarai, I like him. But yeah, I would love him to go, especially being a South Londoner, mind you. I'd love Reiss Nelson to stay in the Premier League, go to a Fulham, hold a Crystal Palace, do a little thing like that. I wouldn't mind that at all. I wouldn't mind him going to France, back to Germany. Top divisions would be the first priority, clearly. Maybe even leaning on our old guy Mislintat and saying, take him at Stuttgart, because you're seeing a couple of young players, Wan Matuka and Koulibaly doing quite well at them clubs there right now in Germany. So can we do that? Equally, I wouldn't mind him going to the thingy as well. I wouldn't mind him going to the Championship, because I feel, again, minutes are currency. There's a lot to learn. And I feel with the Championship, there's a hell of a lot of games, quick succession. It's all good being great on a Wednesday. If you're not good on the Saturday or the Sunday, it means therefore you lose your plot, you lose your spot. We all know it's the nitty and gritty in them leagues there. And Smith Rowe was just in that F3 last season. He had to stay in the league at Huddersfield. He had to earn the right to play. That we was fortunate, and I think we give testament to Dan Crowley and the rest of the managers at the time at Huddersfield, because they identified Smith Rowe and gave a specific plan for how they would use him at Huddersfield. But at some level, he's got to earn it. So I think Reiss Nelson could learn in that regards. That could be something for him, people. In relation to Torreira, I'm tired of speaking about Torreira, because as you lot can see, every time we're speaking about Torreira, it's not about what's on the field. And there was a time as an Arsenal fan, the only time you spoke about Lucas Torreira was when you was chanting his name or talking about, is he the best defensive mid in the Prem and all of these sort of things. As you lot know, it ain't worked out for him at Arsenal generally, ain't worked out for him at Atletico. If I was them, I wouldn't want to let go. And him coming back to Arsenal and being sold or going on loan elsewhere could be complicated by the fact of Atletico might say, we've given you a loan fee. We want him to the end of the season. If not, run us our bread back or do something for us. So you have to negotiate with three parties, ourselves, obviously, four, four including ourselves, because you've got ourselves, you'd have Torreira's advisors, you currently Atletico and their parties, potentially the new club, whoever it is, people. Arteta hasn't exactly said anything new here, people, because we know we've been speaking about Lucas, about his situation, as Edu has been saying, and he's kind of relayed that. He said, we've been talking to Lucas. Edu has been very close to the situation. He hasn't been playing as many minutes as he would like, as we would like. But to be fair, the team is doing so well in Spain. And that's true. You know, you can't, if you're not doing your job, you can't get a look in. The team's playing well. But again, if I was Torreira, with all due respect, I'd be happy the team's playing well, but I'd have to ask myself why. What are them man doing so that my manager is saying I can't change it? And it's something they're doing, it's something you may or may not be doing. Either way, I think he's got to ask himself the question, because 3 different managers, including the latter half of Emre's reign here, and you've had mixed success here. You can obviously, when it's one guy, like if it was just Emre, you could sit here and say, oh, okay, cool. It's just him. He's not using you right and all these things. When other men are not, we're looking at it a bit booky. To be fair, Emery was trying to use you as a 10. He was moving a bit mad. You've just not got a look in really in these teams. So yeah, man, the team's been doing well, and obviously you can't change much. He said, we just want to be right behind Lucas, and it's within our best interest. He's probably not going to come back and play for Arsenal, but there's always that conversation to be had if he's playing well. Obviously, you were hoping he went to Atletico and he played well to the point where they take him permanently and we have some money in our kitty. And you're hoping, if not, and they say they don't want to do that, he's playing to the level where other teams back in where he's had success in Italy, or other Spanish teams are inquiring, which you have seen allegedly for loans, all over. But to purchase him on a permanent, he's been linked with hell of Italian teams. He's been linked with Inter, Torino, Florentino off the top of my head, Valencia in Spain, Seville in Spain, Villarreal in Spain. Obviously, whether these things make sense is another thing. But yeah, we want him to play well, obviously help him to make the right decisions for the future. And apparently he said, let's see what happens, but we're monitoring the situation very closely. That could also be a bit of gamesmanship in relation to his temporary club in Atletico. On whether the loan will be cut, people, he said, whether it could be, he said, I don't know. You always know, but you can never say. So at the moment, he's going to stay at Atletico. That is my belief. And I don't know if that's going to change in the next few days, 2 to 3 days. Apologies, people. So again, there's not too much. So Reiss Nelson looking to go out on loan. Potentially, there could be some other movement with young players in that regards, people. We'll have to see. And obviously, you got Torreira and the rest of it. So yeah, make of that what you will. Is what it is in that regards, people. What are you guys saying in relation to that? I want Guendouzi back. I would as well, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to happen, my dude. I don't think it's going to happen. What have you said? You've said Matt Smith going back to Arsenal. He's our best midfielder, but our manager at Swindon is and plays who football. We don't deserve him. He's top League One level, and he's played very well. Now, I'm not watching Swindon week in, week out. I'm watching them extensively. The last he's had a period where he kind of fell off, but 9 times out of 10, he was 7 minimum out of 10 and beyond that. And the challenge for young players, can you go into another team? Can you go into the men's environment and succeed? Can you go into the men's environment and play well and perform and things? And I think Matt Smith has done that. I think he's the perfect blend of an English midfielder. He's very much the DNA of Arsenal and the fabric that Wenger left, in that he's got passing range. He's a danger from set pieces. He's very good technically. And he puts himself around, and he's making inroads. I think he's unlucky that there's a lot of midfielders. Clearly, Arteta rates him because he was on the bench in the FA Cup and Community Shield. Forgive me if I'm wrong. He didn't really play, but he did get a look in. So he's got ability. As you know, it's difficult at football clubs. And for me, I feel he's one of these young players, as I've said previously, he'll have a decision to make, because again, I'm sure he wants to make it at Arsenal, but I'm sure a couple of teams in the Championship would want to take him on a permanent basis or on loan. And for Arsenal, again, it's good because we can make a buck off him. But for Matt Smith, you don't want to run into that territory where you're always on loan. I think he's had a top loan spell. I think him, Daniel Ballard, have done very well off the top of my head, people. Ballard at Blackpool, Harry Clark's actually done well. Done very well, a couple players, man. McGuinness has had a mixed time. I wouldn't quite put him up there, but yeah, I want to be able to verify that Matt Smith saga. Again, I assume you're a Swindon fan, so you know your business. But is there any official sort of reports around that? Okay. So that's another sharing screen one, people, with you lot. If you lot give me a sec, here we go. Again, the Swindon, the man keeps saying Sweden. The Swindon advertiser is saying Matt Smith might have loan cut short if Swindon sign new midfielder. Now, We've seen a couple players return on loan from Arsenal, people. Tyrese John-Jules has returned temporarily. He's injured at the moment, but we've seen Dejan Iliev return to the, well, not Iliev, sorry, Tom Smith, I believe. Either Tom Smith or Iliev, one of them have returned to the club this January. I wrote it down somewhere because I saw the news, but one of our keepers has returned for a fact, people. Bowler's come back to the club. Trey Coyle and obviously Medley have come back to the club. And in addition, it could be Smith. Now, there's other things to say about these lots loans. I feel it's going to help them all, but they all had mixed success. You know, Medley played a lot and made some costly mistakes. I think Coyle sometimes played very well, didn't get a look in past that. You know, Bowler sometimes looked out of his depth on loan, but either way, that's all better than playing 23. So I think it's a lot. I didn't expect to see Matt Smith's loan cut short, which I'd like that from Arsenal. If they sign another midfielder and it impacts his game time, go and send him elsewhere because he's done quite well in that regards, people. And especially done quite well to show his Arsenal qualities. If, like my man said, that they're playing who football, which is always a danger, especially for Arsenal young players going on loan at lower league clubs and things like that. With all due respect, people. But the report's gone on to say Matt Smith may return to Emirates Stadium if Swindon is successful in signing a new midfielder before deadline day. John Sheridan has suggested. The town boss confirmed he is trying to bring in at least one more player in on a permanent deal before February, the first deadline. Let's find out what he specifically said. He said, we're in the process of trying to... I need this to get bigger, people. Apologies. I can't really... I'm trying not to always look to my screen because I know a lot of you are funny like that, but I'm struggling to read that. Once again, we're in the process of trying to bring in someone in to strengthen us and make sure we're going to be... and make sure we're as strong as we can in all areas, possibly a striker, possibly another position. So what has that already immediately told you? Striker is the priority. And based on the way I've seen Swindon play, I would have thought Matt Smith would be central to any striker you bring. He could put a ball on a sixpence. But that's told you, again, I assume the immediate plan is a striker and maybe another position, maybe a midfielder. As he said, I'm not a lover of having to leave two loans out on a match day. For me, that doesn't sit comfortably. So that's an area I want to try and address the best way I can. So that might mean Matt Smith or another player returns on loan, people. So we have to see. He said, so if that's a striker or a midfielder, I'll speak to Tyler Smith, I'll speak to Johnny Smith or Matty Smith. Yeah, Smith. It's just a decision I've got to try and make. As you lot know, the 20-year-old was named on the bench in August and done his thing in the FA Cup, people. So yeah, people, I think if his loan spell does end, he can leave with his head held high, people. You know, again, their manager, again, he's entitled to do what he wants. Again, it's a results business. He doesn't know how long he's got to be there, but if he's trying to be there for an extended period of time, you kind of want players that are going to be there long term. And push comes to shove, he is just developing another player ultimately for Arsenal. So again, if rumors are to be believed and Matt Smith is going to return to Arsenal, then first and foremost, I think he can leave Swindon with his head held high, his reputation enhanced. And like I said, I think he will field definitely some other loan offers from League One and Championship clubs, and definitely some permanent offers. And I think he should probably head back out on loan. Ironically, I think we could leave him at the club in terms of being a body, if need be, in the Premier League. But again, that's not going to really help him. Out of push, he's not going to get a look in really like that. He needs to head back on loan. And I'm sure there'll be other offers for him. So, like I said, he can leave with his head held high. And that's that in relation to Matt Smith, I guess. But love for mentioning that, my guy, and alerting me and obviously making me able to speak about such. I really appreciate that. Like Sia said, make sure you hit the like button, people. It doesn't cost a thing. It really doesn't. Matt has said, light up that thumb to support the channel, guys. Every like helps. You true on that, my guy. Let's get it to 150 likes on the thing. Easiest way to support DG. Where are we at this moment in time, people? Let me assess. We're at 122. We're doing quite poor, people. Come on, man. Fix that up, people. Fix that up, please. Yeah, we'll see what it has to do. Just a fan has said, off topic, if you don't mind, what is your favorite Arsenal home shirt of all time? The O2 one. The O2 one. Yeah, that would answer your question. Torreira isn't good enough. He can go. Fair play. Big up all the Czech Republic Gooners. Like we got my man here. I really appreciate that. You know, every day I'm shocked by a new region my content has reached. It's crazy, man. Yeah, Danger Closer said, I wonder how long Oba's mum has been ill. Could it be that worrying for her has affected his performances this year? Probably, and we don't. Maybe, again, I don't want to speculate. I don't want that to be a thing, but it is something you got to think about. And a man said, hit the like, get DG a haircut. Bro, I can get myself a haircut, but my barber's gone and there's lockdown. Don't get it twisted. I'm still out. It is what it is. You lot are just going to have to take the greasy DG for a second. It is what it is. Liam Adams, big up yourself. You said, do you think it will take a while for Odegaard to get into form, seeing as he hasn't had, apologies, much game time recently? It's a possibility. You know, you need minutes in the legs. So I do think we're going to have to ease him in a bit. Like, I don't think he's going to play against United, depending on how Smith Rowe plays. If Smith Rowe plays against United, I would like to see him kind of start against Wolves away. He'd have had that enough time to really train. And again, it's not like he's here permanently. We need to see a return on our 2 million odd investment sooner rather than later. Again, I don't really want him to be in the Denis Suarez category or Dennis Ceballos, even though I like Ceballos. You know, he ain't really set the world alight. If he was to go back to, if Real Madrid said they were calling Donny today, I don't think you'd find any Arsenal fans that would be upset that Ceballos is returning. They'd probably be more upset at the fact of it's one less body in midfield. So make of that what you will, people. It is what it is in that regards. I think it's just about time to do the preview as well for the Man United game, people. Allow me to obviously bring up my Google Doc. I actually don't have a tab open at this moment in time. So let's get in. Let me drag this one there to the front. And let's do this. But yeah, man, people, please make sure you're hitting the like button. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. But I've got another link here. Did I mean to talk about something completely different? Oh, speaking of Odegaard and this, I meant to speak about this. Shout out to all the Arsenal accounts that do a good job with this sort of stuff. But according to Tom, let's see who Tom is. Tom Roddy, who is a football reporter for the Times and the Sunday Times, he has said Odegaard's loan will cost Arsenal 4 million, consisting of a 1.8 million loan fee and his 76 a week wages and other costs. It doesn't include a permanent option, as Real Madrid want to keep the possibility of a return open if Zidane leaves at the end of the season. Obviously, Real Madrid, to put it nicely, have been shaky. So, yeah, that's that. If we go now to Arsenal versus Man United now, people, now if we look at it, now, I don't know about everybody else, people, but when you talk about Arsenal versus Manchester United, for me, it always sends a shiver down my stomach. It's always a game that, you know, it's a lot of bragging rights on the line, first and foremost. I'm sure you've all got a lot of friends, in my case, a lot of friends that live in London that support Manchester United. Them fake fans there. Now, of course, I've got to do it. But as you can tell, it's a game for bragging rights. It's a game that locks down Twitter. At Arsenal, it's a game right now that probably both teams do not want to lose. Again, both teams, I do think, and I would take a point. Personally, people, but I'm sure both managers need to win. They want to win because a point helps them greatly, but I'm also sure both managers would take a point, sort of thing, to live to fight another day. It's a game where, you know, if you lose, it's another day, but both teams can't really afford to lose. As you can see here, forgive me if I'm wrong, I don't know if I'm right here, but I can't recall a time. This is just my notes. I can't recall a time they've lost away from home this season. And when you think of their performances at home, there's quite a stark contrast. So they're coming away from home against a team that beat them at their place. They should want to be angry. The last couple of times, Arsenal have done quite well playing them at the Emirates, so they should want to put that right. There's also bragging rights, as you lot know. You know, I'm sure a lot of your family and friends are United and Arsenal fans. And for me, it's a big game. Can you perform? I'm sure both managers want a big performance from their players for obvious reasons. For us, the games aren't getting easier for us. We did our thing against Southampton. We bounced back greatly, but now we've got United, we've got Wolves. You know, we've got some tough games, and I know Wolves aren't exactly flying at the moment, but that's a tough team who also smacked us 3-0. And again, it's going to be a different team to the United that played us at Old Trafford because they've picked up a bit of form. I know they lost yesterday to Sheffield United, people. But yeah, they've picked up a bit of form. They're still technically in a title challenge. You know, the league table doesn't lie. I know it's going to fluctuate over the next couple of days or so, or has been, but the league doesn't lie. And I think they're a point of City. They're technically second. Forgive me if I'm wrong. And again, like I said, it's a big game. Can we perform? Can we go into these big games and get points? As you can see, we went from being relegated to, you know, I don't want to dream. I don't think we can get top 4, but even someone like me who's typically pessimistic, I'm starting to dream a bit, people, and it's going to come down to us. Like all these teams in the Premier League, whether you get relegated, whether you get top 4, whether you miss out on top 4 or Europe or win the league title, I genuinely think you can only blame yourself because right now, clearly, like City's putting in some form together right now. But this season, generally, am I lying, people, when I say there's not been an outstanding candidate? And the same can be said for the top 4, top 6. Not everyone's been amazing. Even Liverpool are dragged into it now. Liverpool have been better than us, but their messing up has meant they're only a couple of games. We're only a couple of points off them. I think if we beat, depending on what happens, we can go a point. We're definitely 3 points behind them at this moment in time, and they're drawing 0-0. So the more you win games, the more you maximize points, the more you can kind of dream in relation to the top 4. I don't believe they can get top 4, but the players should. The players should believe. The manager should believe. That's your goal. That you should have tunnel vision, and you're only going to get there through difficult moments. So you're only going to have yourself to blame if you do not get these performances. If you don't get these 3 points and put in the performances. Now, when I look at Manchester United, I've tried to be as unbiased as possible, and I think of their positives. Generally, I feel Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can get them up for big games, and all their criticisms, they can be up for it, on their day. We know, again, I can't sing their front three, their front three any higher praise, people. We all know on the counter attack, they're one of the best teams in the league. We all know their front three can put you to the sword at any given moment in time, and they've got a resurgence, Paul Pogba. And I know Bruno, people are making a lot about Bruno in big games, but Bruno Fernandes, he's got 11 Premier League goals. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I looked at the stats today. I could be wrong, but he scores a lot of goals. He gets a lot of assists. They've got problems. And when I look at it, they should feel that they'll get chances, because even if we look at it across the last 180 minutes against Southampton, people, we have been quite open in that midfield. And I did say, and I did think, a couple of these chances that's been given to Southampton in that game, I did say it in the watch along. I think United in Rashford and even Martial in woeful form, at the moment by his standards, they score. So they will put you to the sword. Like I said here, we know it's a FIFA thing. Their front three is good. Personally, I think guys like Scott McTominay should start. He's the perfect guy for a game like this, in my opinion, for United. Maybe probably Fred as well. Again, they might go with Fred. They might go with Fred and McTominay, Bruno centrally, and do what you've seen with Pogba off one of the flanks of sorts, sort of inverted role. Or they might be brave and go and find a way of Pogba, Bruno, and one of Scott McTominay or Fred. The midfield is crucial to both teams, because we'll get onto it a bit, but as like I said, people, they found a good bit of form. Whatever way you're looking at it, they are putting results together. I know they lost yesterday, but they are putting results together. You have to respect them. They're second for goal. They're second for goals, and they're fourth for passes. So they're a team that has high amount of possession and have scored a lot of goals. We scored a lot of goals of recent, but we're not outscoring them. They're a team that's scoring a lot of goals. They're a team that like to pass the ball around. Of course, there's similarities, and we're going to get onto it, as you can see there. I do think they pass for the sake of possession and things like that, but they're there. And my personal obsession, me, like we did with Højbjerg, like we did with Michael Keane, I like to find a player statistically in the team that passes the ball a lot, because 9 times out of 10 you stop them, you kind of stop their play. We all know, whatever you say about Maguire, he does have decent passes, and we know he likes to hit them balls into the channels. So hopefully, we win our 2v1s, we win our individual battles, and we don't allow any 2v1s, people, developing in wide areas, because that's where Man United can exploit you, people. They can exploit you. And I think, and when I look at weaknesses, like us, I think they can be slow starters. I think they can be very slow starters, just like us. 9 times out of 10, they're conceding early goals and making games harder than it needs to be. Like you saw against Sheffield United, where they lost, like you've seen against Southampton. And I'm pretty sure if you watch the highlights to a lot of their games, the United fans would agree there's been games where they've had to come from behind. Their own guy in Bruno Fernandes, in the build-up to the Liverpool game, what did he say? Sometimes we concede stupid goals and we concede too early. They concede a lot of early goals. Like us, they can be slow starters. We've, across the last couple of games now against Southampton, we've conceded in the last opening 20-30. I also feel they can be a danger from set pieces, but like us, they can also switch off incredibly at set pieces. De Gea had a bit of a mare yesterday. I know there's a lot is being said of VAR, but I think there was a mare there. So that's something to worry about. I do think, like us, they failed to track runners. That goal that the second goal was appalling from a United perspective, but I don't feel they track runners enough. So I think there's a lot of parallels between the teams. I do think fundamentally, like us as well, I think they rely on individuals 9 times out of 10. Now, I know we've picked up form and things like that, but there's been moments where, individuality has saved us versus a collectively an amazing performance from minute 90. These are some of my own just general match thoughts, people, and sometimes I struggle to read bullet points when there's no spaces, so I've tried to make spaces. Again, I know some people say Bruno Fernandes doesn't turn up in big games, but the statistics are there, people. For me, 11 goals, 7 assists, that's a man you need to be wary of. I think, he hasn't, Luke Shaw hasn't been amazing this season, but I think he's not been getting his plaudits. I think he's a decent player. He's a decent lad and he's been playing all right. So he's someone. Scott McTominay, I think it's a game for him. And they've also got the young Greenwood to go with Rashford and all of these things. We know the issue. We've played against United. We know what United are on. Everybody watches the Premier League. I don't need to tell you what to expect in it, people. For me, the midfield for me is crucial because I'm sure neither fan bases really rate any of the combinations in their midfield. And what I mean by that is I'm no United fan by any stretch of the imagination. But when I look at it, it's not that you don't rate. It's not that you don't rate the players. I'm sure many fans would say, "Oh, cool, let's go with Bruno and Pogba." But then you need a defensive mid, and I'm sure many would like to buy someone who's an upgrade on Scott McTominay or Fred or the ball destroyers in their team. I'm sure there's not a combination United fans can pick together that they're 100% happy with. Similar to us, we're feeling Partey, we're liking the Smith Rowe and now the Ødegaard conversation. But that partner next to Partey, there's a bit of grey area. Xhaka's done all right of late. We all know the book that Xhaka is, and the rest of these players, people. So it is what it is in that regards. I do think, like us, United concede some cheap goals, but also both teams have done all right defensively. De Gea's got 6 clean sheets, but the team has not been putting too many together of late. But you've still got to reflect him. And I know a lot's been made of us playing well defensively by a lot of people, myself included, but we've only got 1 more clean sheet than them. So when I look at it, people, it tells me there could be goals in this game as many people expect, but will both managers sit back, kind of be a bit reluctant to get forward? Sometimes it's not even the managers, it's the players that are thinking this and thinking, I don't really want to lose this game. So will we get intent? Will what could happen in both teams start slow? They're sitting back, no one's really getting onto the other, or is one team going to start fast? It's stick or twist. I guess we won't know until the match day. But saying that, we're 5th for clean sheets, they're 11th. So it kind of highlights what I was talking about, people. Again, similar to the first 20 minutes against Manchester United, for me, the last 20 minutes, because when you think about United, you think about drama. There's games they've turned around, scored in the last few games. Again, like I said, go and look at their results. Go and look at the minutes they've scored and conceded. And 9 times out of 10, it's late drama in these games. So win your first 20 minutes, win your last. Don't switch off, people. And once again, for me, the midfield is crucial, as you can know. Following your runners, especially them when they put in them diag balls and try and counter us and things like that, is crucial. But it's also the attacking and defensive transition ultimately of both teams. Because as I said, their counter attack is what fears me the most, because they will take the chances Southampton didn't, people. This is what I'm saying. Go and look at the times they scored / conceded. I've already made the point about will both teams sit back, as I've said, there's plenty of onus for Manchester United to come at us. We beat them, sort of thing. Ødegaard Solskjaer was quite disappointed in the FA Cup game. I remember even in that game that they didn't have more of a go in that. They could go top depending on what things happen. They're a point behind. So I'm sure there's enough reason for us. We're levels with Chelsea at this moment in time. On paper, it's hard. Liverpool are playing right now, but we're a point behind them. So there's plenty of reasons for both teams to want to win this. But sometimes you can go all out and you get shagged. So will both teams live to fight another day? For us as well, like I said, the games don't get any easier. Wolves away, Villa, Leeds, Benfica to come in the Europa League. This is a side note for me personally, but who plays on the right-hand side is of interest to me purely because our left wing is where we're most dangerous, people. We're talking about Pepe of reason for the left wing. Martinelli, historically, Aubameyang's played out there. Tierney, Saka, we've had many different variations. Our right wing isn't really there. It's a bit of both teams, I feel, are an open book. Statistically, people, please make sure you're hitting the like button. My back is killing me on this chair now. I might have to get a gaming chair. Please don't spam. Anyways, moving away from that, Arsenal have won their last 2 Premier League matches against Manchester United, last winning 3 in a row in September 1998 under Arsene Wenger. As you can see, the screenshot from my iPhone. Big up Google. Manchester United are winless in all 4 Premier League matches against Arsenal under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They've lost 3 and they've drawn 1. To me, that would make me sick. Both teams previously been attributed to winning Premier Leagues and challenging. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should transmit this, and the players should have the healthy bit between their teeth, because sometimes they've even come to the Emirates and flattered Xhaka. I've seen Xhaka score bangers and pocket Paul Pogba and things like that at the Emirates, and I'm sure they want to put that right. They're winless in 4 games. There was a time where United would rock up and, Arsenal had worse stats than that. So I'm sure they want to do something in that regards, people. Away from that, Arsenal are looking to record a Premier League double over Manchester United for only the fourth time, people. So again, can you go and do that? Can you go into difficult games and go out the other side, especially knowing where you stand before the game and where you stand after? Can you go into that game with the pressure? Again, set pieces, both teams are very frail from set pieces, danger close. As I've said previously, and like you're echoing, and I'm scared on that as well. It's the transition for me. It's also set pieces. It's stupid, but it's going to come down to which team is more sensible and more switched on, really and truly. Because I think they're quite identical in the errors and the reasons for them both teams not excelling for more stuff this season. Manchester United haven't lost 3 consecutive top flight games against Arsenal since May 1991. I wasn't even born then, so that week they could hit new heights in that regards. Arsenal have kept a clean sheet in each of their last 3 home games in all competitions. So hopefully we can do that, people. Again, there's another side note. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. But Arteta has been quite coy on players. So I don't know if it's Arteta being coy in relation to his counterpart. He doesn't want Oli to read him, or are these players actually out? We saw Smith Rowe, Partey and Smith Rowe came off injured in their last games, or with knocks. Tierney didn't feature, and he's been quite coy in his press conference on the fitness levels on all of them, people. So in relation to the lineup, all 3 of them walk into my lineup against Manchester United on Saturday, obviously. But again, I've done 2 lineups. Now, if everybody was fit personally, people, as you lot already know, Leno picks himself. If Tierney is fit, Tierney resumes his business at left back. Obviously, I feel Cedric can't be dropped based on his last game. So my challenge to Cedric is A, can you continue that? And B, can you do it on the right-hand side for me? So I'll go Cedric and Tierney as my fullbacks. Holding, I feel Holding was better than David Luiz, and Holding's been putting a number of games, of run of games together and playing quite well. So Holding plays centre-half. I think David Luiz should drop out. Marie is back in training, but I don't know if he's fit enough. And I think at least Gabriel's played in the FA Cup. I know he didn't play well, but I still back him. So Gabriel would walk in there for me. In midfield again in brackets, could it be an El Nene thing against them at the Emirates? I mean, at Old Trafford, we went with El Nene and Partey, and it worked very well for us. Admittedly, for me, you're not convinced. Like I was saying earlier, I'm not convinced in any of the combinations that we can put with Partey. And ironically, I'd rather Smith Rowe, really and truly, or Ødegaard there. But again, we all know the issues with that. But I feel right now, these lot would probably be our best pivot. In the summer, we can address this. Right now, we can't. So again, Partey and Xhaka would be it for me. Smith Rowe's fit. Smith Rowe plays. Obviously, if Smith Rowe isn't fit, then we might as well just throw Ødegaard in there. Again, a fully fit Ødegaard can do damage, but I do think he's lacking sharpness, and I do think we need to take our time. But sometimes you can play your way into form. Sometimes the best way to start your new life at a club is to play straight away. And again, for me, he'd be on the bench if everyone's there. But a half-fit Ødegaard with a point to prove against Real Madrid and all these teams for not really playing him and all these things, surely he's going to do better than an unconfident Willian. I'd rather a player that has a point to prove than a player that is unconfident. And I'm saying Willian because Willian's probably who's going to play in the 10. Would he remove Lacazette to play in the 10 and play Eddie up front? I don't know. I probably wouldn't do that. Obviously, if Aubameyang isn't fit, then that's a problem. But assuming everything goes right, and I'm saying Aubameyang's not fit, we all know he's missing through personal issues. So assuming the best, that Tierney's back, Smith Rowe's back, Aubameyang is back after the personal issues, then you can see the lineup for itself, people. I'll circle back over once again. Liverpool are winning 1-0. I think Firmino scored. But Leno, Cedric, Rob Holding, Gabriel and Tierney make up the back 4, 5 including Leno. You've got Partey and Xhaka in the midfield. You've got Smith Rowe in the 10. Aubameyang pulls over on the left for me. Lacazette through the middle. Saka on the right. Plan B, which again, I assume the worst, if nobody can be involved, if players can't be involved in and the players that I haven't been told are playing, play. Lineup B would be for me. Leno picks himself once again in goal. Cedric remains unchanged at right back, as does Holding and Gabriel. I can't lie, people. I'd rather Saka do his job there. I know Cedric played well at left back last game. I know Maitland-Niles didn't play well against Crystal Palace, but has played well at left back. I know there's things you can do. And I know Saka, you don't really want to disrupt what he's doing at right back. But I would rather Saka in this game like this. I can't lie with you. I'd rather Saka on the left-hand side do a job for me there for this 90 minutes. That's just me, innit? So Saka would do a job for me personally. Again, assuming there is no Partey, then I will go with El Nene personally. I'm not too sure on Ceballos' fitness levels. Ceballos, ironically, I've always got a bias to Ceballos. For me right now, on paper, I'd rather Partey and Ceballos in midfield as a pivot, but we all know it ain't been working. At a push, again, if Aubameyang's missing out, then I'm going with Pepe. Again, he'd move to the right-hand side. I know a lot's been made of him on the left, but I need him on the right-hand side. And I guess, you're looking at, the left is probably, the whole of the front three at Manchester United is dangerous for me. But again, when I look at it, it's the left-hand side that scares me the most. Pogba likes to pull over to that left-hand side. Bruno likes to play passes for Rashford. Rashford makes very good runs. He's offside half the time, but he makes very good runs. And I'd say that's the danger. So logically, if that's my danger or what concerns me, then what we're doing at right back is crucial. And that's a new sort of partnership. I spoke a lot on partnerships. Obviously, Lacazette would remain unchanged as well, people. I'm missing out a player as well. If Smith Rowe isn't there, people, if there is no Smith Rowe, then boy, I don't know, man. You might as well just, if Ceballos is fit, then I'd go with Ceballos. But if Ceballos isn't fit, then obviously I'm playing this man in there. What have you got to lose? If he's not fit, you could always take him off. But again, I'd throw them in there. I'd throw Ødegaard in there. I'd rather that than Willian. I wouldn't want to move Lacazette into that role because there's no Aubameyang and whatnot. I know Martinelli can go through the middle. Obviously, if Saka has to go to left back, then Martinelli, who could feel and should feel hard done by, plays for me on the left-hand side, people. I've just spoken about Lacazette and obviously Ødegaard. Now, this is my lineup B, assuming there is no Partey, no Smith Rowe, and the rest of them, people. Do you get it? So it is what it is in that regards. Please don't spam. You will get answered. Yeah, I would move Pepe to right wing. You could put Martinelli over there, but I'd rather Pepe move over there. I think Martinelli looks good on the left. He'd be there with his Haaland lad as well. So yeah, and reality is, I have been a big advocate for for Pepe on the left, but he's a grown man. You should be able to play properly on both wings. Really, I hear what you're saying. You could move Martinelli to the right. I know he didn't. There was one game, was it West Ham? He didn't have the best of games at home, and Arteta tried that. It could be something to explore. Who knows? But that would be my lineup in that regards. That's for my podcast tomorrow. So yeah, that's it in relation to my Arsenal versus United preview, people. And I believe, really. I'm just making a thumbnail before you got man said thumbnail. I'm making a timestamp preview for when this is done, and I can help people out. Big up Dial Square. Dial Square 1 has said, love for the super chat. My issue with this group of players is lack of concentration. Can we focus and win those small percentages that matter so much in these games? My guy, the saddest thing is I don't have an answer for you, but that's exactly what I tried to articulate. Football's a game of fine margins. We always doing these things as Arsenal fans where we've played good for 80 minutes, but we conceded in the 90th minute, and we're focused on the other 80 positive minutes and not the 10 where we lost it, sort of thing. Where I'm not saying you should be negative, but balance. Football's about fine margins, and that's what I was saying. Can you go into a run of games now where you know exactly where you're going to be in and out the table and the ramifications of such? Again, you could draw serious parity on people and make serious progress in relation to top four. Arteta's been very coy on it and he's played it down. But inside, you think these players aren't dreaming of it? That's not their goal. And it's like you said, man, I don't know. I have to say it's lack of focus and concentration for the players. I don't feel your manager could. I think your manager can obviously tell you, but I don't think they can really transmit that. I think that's down for the players themselves. And maybe it's a thing where you've got to play a squad like this. It is what it is, I don't know how you actually fix that, my guy, really and truly. I personally think that's a case of you can bring someone to the water, but you can't make them drink. So I don't know, my guy, but love for the super chat regardless. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. I did see Liverpool just scored. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. Firmino done his thing. Just a fan that said, smoke that like button, everyone. Deluded and his team working hard to deliver that top content. Thank you very much, man. It means a lot, man. It means a lot. The moderators are on job. Big up the moderators. Then big up the Twitch gang as well. I see the work you're putting in. We're almost at 3 average viewers on Twitch. Make sure you're taking in the Twitch gang. Settings, man. Good settings, my guy. Good settings. I appreciate you, my guy. There isn't anything else, man. There isn't anything else to really speak about, really. I've covered everything I wanted to speak about. Get some questions in, people. Take a couple questions before I keep it moving. Why not? It's a bit of a slow news day in relation to Arsenal. Apparently, though, if we look at this, people, This might help us in the pursuit of securing Odegaard if things go our way and how we want it. Real Madrid's financial situation is so bad that they will sell any of their players if they receive a big enough offer. So they're hardly going to buy Kylian Mbappe and Camavinga and all these players in the summer, like was allegedly said. According to Fabrizio Romano, as of today, Monaco are not in negotiations with Atletico Madrid and Arsenal for Lucas Torreira. So make of that what you will, people. Charlie Charles said in relation to the fitness of Smith Rowe, Arsenal trying to make sure that the new workload that he is suddenly getting and game time didn't do too much damage on his body, as they need to manage him through that. And I think he should be all right for the weekend. And again, that's true. You know, that's something Huddersfield, when he was on loan, did very well. We don't need him to get injured. He is playing. There is a bit more physical demands on the lad, and there will be some teething problems. So hopefully there's nothing there. On Matt Ryan, apparently Matt Ryan, he settled really quickly. I was very impressed when I talked to him. He's really focused, really engaged with what we want to do. He's a very professional guy, and he's coming here to compete with Alex and Bird. So obviously Leno and Runnison. We've already covered the Maitland-Niles business, people. So it is what it is. I don't think there is anything else in that regards, people. But that gave us a good couple 30 seconds, did it? What's the score for Saturday? Hopefully 3-0 Arsenal, man. I want to see us better there, man. It's a lot of bragging rights. My cousin's been giving me a lot of nonsense. I want to see a convincing win, but who knows, man. Big up Skyter. As always, we appreciate your content, DG. I appreciate you lot, and I definitely appreciate all you members. Please make sure you're checking out the memberships. Links are in the description, and it should say join in the video. Also, I'm well aware of the donations on PayPal. They allow us to keep better in the content. So I appreciate all the PayPal donations and all of you lot taking advantage of the necessary information in the description. Please make sure you're following me across all my socials, from Instagram to the rest of it. Information is again in them socials. And once again, love to the Twitch gang. If you want to do up Twitch, Deluded Gooner 187. Score, as I said, you know, I say a 4. I say, man said realistically, and then 4-1. I say 1-0 Arsenal, 1-0 Arsenal, classic settings. How are you doing today? I'm good, my guy. I'm good, man. I'm good, man. From you got life, you can do everything, man. Someone has said, wouldn't start Gabriel this match, even though Luiz is the only other option. Personally, if it's down to the two of them, I'm going with Gabriel, but I respect your viewpoint, my guy. I've just talked about what our tactics could be, but I'd say you've got to be aggressive, man. Be aggressive. United look most shambles when you're aggressive. You know, don't allow the individuals to make the difference. There's all the problems with us. I think there's the same problems with United, really and truly. Just tuned in. Big up DG. We're getting to the end of it, so better late than never. Scroll back, my guy. I appreciate you, regardless, man. I'm glad I missed the Maitland-Niles bit. You know, I ain't got a balanced view on my guy. Fair play agendas, whatever. Get the wings ready for the weekend. To be fair, it's 5 p.m. evening time. It could be a wings thing. It could be a wing settings. It could be a wing settings. Like you said, like Dow Square said, fundamentally, start quick. You start quick, you solve half our problems. Personally, you know, they probably lost hella money on Bell. Really, they made a 20 million back in terms of how much Spurs paid to them, allegedly. Hazard, that big money, not really a return. So yeah, they're probably open to selling their players, and again, they're probably even more open towards selling their players if they do want to buy Mbappe and Camavinga and Haaland and all of these guys they're linked with, man. How do we stop counter-attacking football? By regrouping in position quickly. They can only exploit gaps if you allow a gap physically. So again, making sure we're in position. If we're in position and we get bodies, if they do counter-attack, we can stop them. Prevention is better than cure. And if we have that, you know, it is what it is. I hope a double is on its way, MP. I really do hope a double is on its way, man. So yeah, it is what it is in that regards. But I can't lie, people. We've been here for an hour and so minutes. I want to watch Liverpool versus Spurs like the rest of you. Yeah, man, we've spoken about the transfer news. We've spoken about Ødegaard. We've spoken about Maitland-Niles. We previewed the United game. You know, I'll be back tomorrow with some content. Hopefully, I'll get some United fans and whatnot, and we can do some sort of things in relation to that. Obviously, I'm going to do the timestamps now for those of you that have missed, but if not, just scroll back and find some yourself. But I'm appreciative of all of you lot for giving up your time, wherever you are, whoever you are. Please make sure you hit the like button, and I'll be back before too long. But for now, I'm out.